recording. Okay. Lulu?
All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's insightful talk hosted by Taylor's University School of Architecture, Building and Design. We are honored to have with us two distinguished PhD scholars, which is Dr. Payal Debnath from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, and Dr. Neela Bira Mondal from Curtin University in Australia. Before we begin, let's take a moment to appreciate the expertise our speakers bring to today's discussion. So, Dr. Debnath Piali, Dr. Piali Debnath is currently pursuing PhD in architecture at the Indian Institute of Technology in Kharagpur, India, and a PhD at public health at Curtin University, Western Australia. With a foundational background in architecture and a specialization in construction project management, Pali possesses a multidisciplinary problem-solving perspective on the built environment prior to her doctoral research, and she acquired over 2 years of experience as a project manager in the building industry and as an assistant professor at National Institute of Technology in Calicut. She is adept in experimental field study and analysis, climate responsive architecture, building energy performance, building facades, and simulation-based assessments. Her current research area lies in the domain of building envelope and occupant health and well-being. As for Neela Bra Mondal is currently pursuing PhD under the guidance of Dr. Prashant Anand at the Department of Architecture and Regional Planning at the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, India, with a focus on urban energy analytics. He holds an academic background in both architecture and civil engineering and graduated from IIT Kharagpur in 2024, receiving the Institute Silver Medal for Academic Excellence. Following his graduation, he directly joined the doctoral program, having previously completed a 6-month internship at Gensler, India, where he worked at architectural design and performed building performance analysis. His research interest lies in the application of experimentation, simulation, and data analytics across building to urban scales. And he is particularly interested in urban building energy modeling, urban scale energy demand prediction, and urban climate modeling, along with building level studies related to total building performance analysis. So today's lecture will be about a systematic approach to literature review in construction and built environment and environmental research. So without any further explanation, we'll let everyone else speak this.
So, Prof. Selvi, can we start?
Yes, Prashant. Sorry, Prashant. Neil. Sorry.
No problem.
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah. Okay, I have given
So
you
I'm
access
trying-
to the screen. Yep.
Yeah. I think my screen is visible.
Okay.
So, hello everyone. So today, myself, Nilabhro, and along with one of our senior scholar, Ms. Piali, will try to give a brief idea about how we, as a research scholar here, trying to do a systematic approach wherever we are trying to do literature review. And it is a very, I would say, foundational part in our research also, and in any other fields also, if you see, maybe product design as well as in any other fields in terms of we as an architecture or civil engineering student, we are much more concerned about construction, building environment. But if we go into the other fields, maybe medicine or whatever fields, the approach remains almost the same. So the content flow in today's lecture as is in this a 2 hour long discussion. So we are not like to make this a very monotonous discussion. So we thought to include some of the tools, platforms as a demo kind of thing, where Piali will majorly take you to that whole discussion. I will majorly talk about the how and why the literature review is needed, the various types of the literature review, and what are the basic systematic or the meta-analysis. I will discuss later on to what are those terminologies and how are the basic protocols to conduct a systematic literature review and how to look about that. So to start with, whenever we in any field, I'll give an example of my particular own field, maybe urban energy system or urban climate, to make it a little bit comfortable for me. If you are having any issues, please interrupt me in between. So whenever we are trying to, or whenever we are facing certain kind of problems, at the end of the problem, or whenever we're trying to solve something, we are searching for a solution or certain kind of idea to address that problem. And in that search for idea or some kind of feasible solution search to address that issues, one of the major component as a research scholar, or again, I would say maybe in product designs also, we would see one thing comes key, we do certain kind of research. Maybe maybe that can be experimental, maybe that can be simulation based, maybe that can be just equations and pure theoretical, whatever we are doing. So this is the one major component in solving a problem in a major step, we'd say. But before solving that problem, or before doing certain kind or undertaking certain kind of research, we, in the term of the research itself, we see there is a research. So if we emphasize on that, there is a term called re. So again, we have to look for some certain kind of problems and how actually the past, or what the past maybe books, past approaches, past experts are telling about that certain kind of problem, or is there any mention of that problem solution approach or not. There the literature review or the literature comes as a main important point to start our research or to solve any certain kind of issues or problem. And this is not specific to our field, but exhaustive to any other field if we're trying to solve any certain kind of problem or issues. Now, if we see that literature, maybe as an normal student, we can understand maybe what the past books are telling. Maybe if I would say in my area, maybe Urban Climate, there have been certain very established book by T.K. Oak, maybe Urban Climate, that's the name. So he has established certain kind of terminologies that is being way past around. If I take an example of your construction sector, maybe there are very foundational books which are giving us a particular idea about what are the foundational concepts, what are the foundational construction techniques, and what are the basic contemporary studies we do around. Other than that, second component comes other than those contemporary studies or what is actually in practice in the market or in normal practice, what are the new components coming around? There the new research papers or the research component comes, where we are not only, maybe I am telling you my research area is urban climate. So I am not only one researcher from India who is working on that. Maybe there are several other researchers from maybe Malaysia or Singapore or around the world who is particularly trying to solve same problem in the same amount of same time, or maybe sometimes earlier, or maybe somebody is coming to maybe past some months or coming years to address certain kind of problems. So they're the coming of age that kind of research papers comes, which also helps us to keep update what new is coming. Alongside that, there are other expert panels. Maybe I, as a researcher, I'm just exploring this climate area maybe for 6 months or maybe 1 year or 2 year as an just a PhD scholar. But there may be one scholar who may be established in this field. So the way he or she or whoever views this subject, maybe his or her or whoever's way of perceiving this problem may be a little bit different from us, whoever just studying that problem. So all this together, when we combine, first comes ki we take a set of existing solutions already to that problem. Either it is existing or there has been certain kind of notion that is telling you, okay, there have been certain kind of studies. I will try to make this simple in a next on simple example. And another second step we see ki these literatures, maybe these books, as well as the contemporary studies, as well as those experts are also from their experiences are telling there may be certain impending research gaps that needed to be addressed in the coming on research. Just in my context to this and give an example, let one of the research question I am trying to address as of now is how built urbanization and the local climate together is impacting the cooling demand in the cities, particularly in cities. Now, this research question was in my mind, but when we are seeing that the maybe current news, there is also around India, these kind of challenges are becoming very much relevant. As well as if we go around the past 2 decades along top journals, maybe Science, or you would say the recent top order journal, maybe Nature Cities, from 2000 to 2024, these cities, the change around the cities, the various environmental, ecological, as well as various other factors changes, those topics are being very much relevant here. So here from the foundation of this kind of literature search and all this we call as a literature. So this starts. These are the further much more, maybe these are just snippets from some of the journals within that Nature Cities, as I told, maybe Nature Communication or top other journals I've shown. Ki now in the paper itself, maybe we are not talking about a broad problem, but we are talking about very scope down problem. So I'm not going to detail of that, but this way the literature works. And whenever these papers or maybe these papers are addressing certain kind of problem, but whenever they're addressing certain kind of problem, again, they're going back to what the past the people have said and what new we are contributing, adding to that past. Or we are telling something is changing from that past or not. Like that, we are trying to build a research and development environment around us. Now, if we take a direct example from any paper, I'm just quoting the line from certain paper, it's according to certain ETL, climate change, urbanization, population growth, and their environmental consequences are some of the most pressing challenges the humanity is facing in the 21st century. Now you can see that this line is used in another paper, but they have quoted Brzezinski ETL. So we are presenting certain kind of idea when we are doing research or just telling. So to support our idea, we are trying to search for some precedent who have or who had already told certain kind supported our thought. Or we can combine 2 or 3 thoughts together. You can see the next example. Most previous studies, they are not mentioning particularly the name as the previous one they have exhaustively mentioned about Brothers KTL. Here they're taking most previous studies. So maybe here we are trying to club 2-3 ideas together and giving a common statement. But whenever we are doing certain or whenever we are claiming certain kind of statements, there are always literatures helps us. That past what's been told and how that is helping us to move forward with the future. And then late in certain kind of paper or certain kind of presentation, we are putting forward at 1 minute, just my computer may be going to the power saving mode. Charge. Yeah. Now we are just presenting a fact. Sometimes when that fact or certain kind of statement is kind of research hypothesis, maybe we are thinking that can happen, that need not to be supported by literature. But other than that, if we are telling also certain kind of fact, that is also sometimes needed to be supported by literature. Now, from literature, we'll move to the literature review process. But if we see the definition of the literature according to the Oxford reference in the dictionary, I will not read, but you can take one moment to read the line what the literature review is telling. But just note two words very I would say emphasize you can give or highlight you can give in the published and peer reviewed. So whenever certain kind of literature is being published or certain kind of literature we are referring, it need to pass through certain kind of screening process. Today, we cannot just claim that we are writing certain kind of document and we are just telling you people that this is true. No. As we told, there have been certain kind of expert panel, there have been certain kind of past established studies. Whenever some kind of studies come out, it come out through a certain kind of screening process where those expert panels, maybe somebody experts in maybe urban climate area, whenever I am trying to publish or I'm trying to claim something, that need to be accredited by certain kind of those expert panels in certain point, and that we call peer reviewed. And publish, obviously, that is coming to the public domain so that other than me also, other people can also trace back to the original literature source if they want to know more. Now, as we or through our literature, we are trying to address certain kind of gaps or certain kind of ideas we are telling. One idea can be we're just reading one paper or we're just reading one book and we're getting certain kind of idea. Let example, I am reading on an maybe paper on urban climate in Indian context, and I am telling, okay, certain kind of mitigation strategy. Let just the super cool coating on the building rooftop can reduce the temperature of the Indian households or the cooling demand of the household by 5 to 10%. But whenever we, as a researcher reporting, we cannot have a biased view to just single paper or some limited kind of studies. But it's always preferred we take a whole compilation of a set where maybe that paper number can vary from 2 to 2,200. And there the literature review comes where we try to systematically select the pool of the papers or the pool of the literatures where from we'll try to collect the data, which can help us to get a complete picture about the certain scenarios. If we're saying, okay, there have been certain past studies, but we cannot just claim, okay, one study is telling that, okay, for supporting a statement, we can use one study. But whenever we are reporting in our report, around the world, certain kind of phenomena is happening, and we are explaining that, we cannot have a certain one single pointed view. Why that is relevant, I just give an example. This is published recently in Nature Cities, one of the paper where they are telling about what are the cooling effects of the urban greeneries. Now, if you see or notice one dot, if we take one dot from US or one dot from maybe Middle East, you would see that the urban greenery effect is not that, if you consider one of the yellow dots, that urban greenery effect is not that much considered. But when that study didn't hold comprehensive meta search, that this paper is majorly a literature paper, but they have done a global search on that past existing literature. So you can see that there has been whole pool of possible existing literature around the globe and they're reporting. And you can see the frequencies of the bluer or the violet tones of the bubbles around the world is more, which is telling yes, there have been significant impact of the greeneries, and space and context wise that can vary. It can be much more broader way understood through the second picture, where you can see in the left hand side here, the Ong and Yusuf 2010, Mali ETL 2020. So all of those are the past studies this paper is claiming. And this paper, what is trying, they are trying to collate all those literatures together, and then they're trying to tell what can be the range of the temperature reduction due to the urban greenery. Now, if I would just pick up Ong and Yusuf, then I may miss the whole picture. for that, a systematic whole bunch of, or I would say bunch of literature is needed. And that process of studying a whole bunch of literature together is called the literature review we majorly did. Now, whenever it comes to the literature review, it has certain kind of variations or the types, I would say, but not going to the details of the types. But I would like to take your attention in the last three, where we tell systematic review, meta-analysis, and critical review. Majorly systematic and the meta-analysis whenever we are writing a review paper or whenever we are reporting certain kind of past studies, as you see in the last PPT also. Here, our search for papers also need to be certain protocol driven first, and second, whenever we are reporting, there should be certain embedded statistics whenever we are searching that paper. Maybe basic statistics, what are the major ranges are lying in the paper reporting, maybe same region. So what can be the central tendencies? What are the dispersions the papers are reporting? If they are aligning or if they are diverting or not. If they're aligning, we can tell, okay, so all the studies are telling, okay, urban greenery is having a prominent impact. But if we see there have been diverse effect, maybe among 100 paper, 50 paper is saying, okay, that is not showing that impact, and 50 paper is saying that, okay, there is a certain kind of impact, then we cannot come to a very well conclusion, yes, urban greenery is helping. So there comes the critical review approach, where we try to club together the systematic and the statistical approaches, and we try to impose our own hypothesis also, which can outline next future research works also. Today's lecture majorly will focus on these three together, and majorly on how we can do exhaustively literature searches or literature reviews, through which we can develop an idea for a systematic research process to take forward. Now, doing certain kind of search, maybe systematic and the meta-analysis for the literature, the right-hand side image is a standard, and this approach is called Prisma approach. We call it in short, where first step is we try to identify certain set of literature from an, I would say, verified repository or sources. We're coming to the example of the repositories when we are going to the demo on the next one. From there, through certain approaches, maybe certain Boolean operations, maybe certain keyword searches, we narrow down our scope, or maybe initially in that repository, you can consider it as a digital library. So there may be crores of papers in various topics. Now, let my search topic is urban greenery. So if we just put these two keyword urban greenery in that digital library, it will filter down, maybe just for an sake of example, 20,000 papers. Now, again, according to my interest area, I'll try to further reduce the cooling effect of urban greenery. There, again, another level of screening I will add, which may reduce down that 20,000 papers to maybe 2,000 papers. Again, if I add another level of filter, maybe for developing nations, there what will happen, another level of filter when added from 2,000 paper to maybe 200 paper we are getting. Now, when this kind of number within 200 or 100 or 150, these numbers we are achieving, those are generally manually also we can control. Those number and those paper we try to have a record. Then it is a semi-manual approach. We do again systematic search or screening, or we search in that paper or those whole pile of 100 papers itself, which are much more relevant. The another level of filter can be the past 20 years. The another level of filter can be the top Q1 journals, or maybe top Q1, Q2 journals and the top order other journals. Like this level of filters we add on when we do the systematic level of search. Each of these steps I'm explaining that verbally, each will be explained in the demo step. Now there is an example from a paper, as I'm telling. You can see from the top two boxes, there are two search engines. One may be Web of Science database and another will be Scopus database. So the first number of the papers maybe from Web of Science is 148 paper. And for the Scopus database, the paper number may be 453 papers. From there, we are trying to reduce down or eliminate the duplicate ones. Maybe the 270 papers are duplicate. Now recorded screens are the 421 papers. And now, as I'm telling little bit semi-manual approach, we are just looking through title and the abstract of the study, those relevance years. From there, certain kind of scoping down further happens. Now, if we see the repositories, I would like to students, as this is recorded, they can also later on search. I am not very much aware about how the students are much more familiar with these platforms, but I'll just say, initially to start with the literature search, you can start with the Google Scholar. It is one of the very handy platform where you can do literature search. In that search bar, you can just write the keywords you want to search about. From there, you can get the recent papers or the recent published peer-reviewed papers already. But it doesn't filter out the top order journals or whatever. So in between, there can be mix of the quality, I would say, in terms of paper. But later on, to start with, you can start with the Google Scholar itself. Then Scopus is much more systematically search platform for us. Our whole demo is based on majorly the Scopus search and how we can systematically filter out the literatures alongside it. Another is the Web of Science. It's a little bit complicated, but I would recommend if you are starting on, then you can start with the Scopus search itself. And next on, we are moving on with the demo. So we parallelly go to the PPT, and if possible, I think the session is recorded. So if you are not have access to that much of bandwidth to go alongside the demo to practice in between, or may not be have Word installed or certain kind of platform will be telling that may take some time of installation, but you can keep and record how the way the demo is going on so that you can also look about. So I'll just ask Piali to continue from here. So Piali will share her screen and we'll continue. Thank you. Prof. Selvi, I think you need to give access to Piali to first share. Just can you
Yeah. Oh,
once
yeah.
check?
Sorry. Oh, Piali. Okay. All right. Piali. Hold on. Just give me one sec. Piali. Okay. Make present. All right, Piali. Yeah, we can share screen. Yeah. Okay. You can share the screen now, Piali.
Yes.
Give me a moment, please.
No problem.
Okay, is this PPT visible to everybody?
Yes. We can see, yes.
Thanks, Nilavra, for giving us such a wonderful introduction. So I will say, so you gave us basically a basic foundation, how to, like, what is the systematic review is and what is the broad sense of a literature review and how to approach a problem. So thank you, Prof. Selvi, for giving us a wonderful opportunity to, present. Thank you so much. So before I start with this, so may I request you one thing, because can I just switch off my video because this internet connection is fluctuating a bit. So
Sure,
I don't
Piali.
want to, yeah, okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so the content is visible, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, we can see.
Yeah.
But you have to go to presentation mode, Piali.
Yeah. So before I start with the demo, I would like to discuss few more things. I'd like to add whatever Nilavra has discussed. So whenever we talk about a systematic review, so basically, traditionally, there is one more review that we called narrative review. Okay. So narrative review, or basically that is the most traditional sense when we don't approach a problem in a structured way. So the systematic review is when we approach a problem in a structured way, and narrative or the traditional review is when we basically approaching a problem in a non-structured way. Non-structured way means there we are not following any guidelines such as Prisma guidelines, the flowchart that he has already shared. So we are not any of this. So what we do is basically we suppose we are on Scopus, we search a problem and then we get a list of literatures, and we grab maybe 100 or 200, or maybe uh, based on your understanding, you select few papers and then review all those papers. So as you can see, there is an inherent risk, right? Inherent bias involved. It like this actually depends on your understanding. So like like for like the researchers who are completely novice in this field, so there is a huge risk involved that you may not include the important data. So in that case, it's like my advisor, it's wise to go for a systematic literature review. So in that case, like you don't have to have your prior experience in that particular field, so you already have a uh, you already have an established protocol and way that you need to follow, and then you have a flow chart that you need to follow while uh, uh, selecting those literature available, and this way there is no bias involved. So does that make sense to you? Just to tell you, so throughout this session, I'll be asking, I'll try to, make the session very interactive. So whenever I'm just asking, so just try to, respond. So I hope you understood that, like whatever I said. So in a systematic review, so there are two things. One is meta-analysis, one is meta-synthesis. Now, meta-analysis is basically whenever you are uh, trying to do that review, adopting a statistical approach. Now, statistical approach means suppose maybe you are using, suppose when you are analyzing the data you collected, you are using, suppose maybe system. Suppose you're using a t-test or maybe regression analysis or some sort of statistical analysis. Now, there is another thing called metasynthesis. Metasynthesis is basically it's when you are not using any statistical technique. Means you could use graphs to visualize data in a very qualitative way. So that is basically metasynthesis. And sometimes you must have experienced that like only through meta-analysis, it's not possible for you to explain the literature. Need to like need the qualitative approach. Sometimes these things happens. So then it becomes a mixed method approach. So you have qualitative approach also and quantitative approach also. So you will basically explain part with quantitative approach, and the part that is not possible. It is not possible to explain through the statistical technique. So you will basically adopt the qualitative approach. So with that, I will move forward. So now, given your background, that is basically construction and built environment, so there are so many databases available where you can you can go and search with keywords. So the most crude, I will say, the crude database that you could use is the Google Scholar. Now, the Google Scholar won't make your life easier. Definitely not. the main reason is that, so there are inherent problems. So basically, whenever you are searching with, searching with different keywords, so it's very important that you use different Boolean operators, and also there is a difficulty in Google Scholar, and also you sometimes need a filters. Like suppose maybe you want to adopt a very interdisciplinary approach, and you want to uh, look into particular fields such as health science, such as architecture. So all those filters are not available here. Okay, so there lies the problem. But there are other databases such as Scopus and then Web of Science. So these are the most extensive ones. So these are the uh, databases where you can use those Boolean operators, and then you will get a lot of filters. So based on that, you can actually narrow down your searches. So basically, throughout the world, there are so many millions of research papers are available. So humanly, it's not possible to read all of them, right? So you need to narrow down your search area. So you need filters definitely, and you also need those Boolean operators. So based on that, you'll be able to do that. So apart from these two, Scopus and Web of Science, they are the most comprehensive databases. So definitely you should use that. Apart from that, you can use Science Direct also. Scopus also includes few papers from Science Direct, but it doesn't actually include all papers. I mean, all literatures from Science Direct. So you can, separately you can actually go to Science Direct and actually search. Apart from that, there is ASC library. Okay, ASC basically you can actually search American Society of something, civil engineering. So AC library is a good one. Apart from that, Taylor's and Francis, you can use that also. Apart from that, there is ICE virtual library. You can use that also. And there is one more I would recommend, IEEE Explore. If you search, you'll find IEEE Explore library, or maybe digital library. So these are the ones I will recommend. So while you are conducting literature review. So now that you have idea about what databases you should use. So next I will get into the demos. So before searching with a literature review, first thing that you should have is that your problem statement ready. So the problem statement is very important, because without your problem statement, you don't know what keywords you should use. Because this whole systematic literature review actually depends on the way you are deciding keywords. If you are doing anything wrong with deciding keywords, your whole thing will get messed up. Does that make sense to you? Right. So as Neelabhra has already talked about a research problem, so we will take that research problem first. So this one we will take as a research problem. So this is basically the research problem, or the topic is the urban level energy demand and urban microclimate extremes, urban built morphology consideration in energy demand prediction. So could anyone, or all of you, could you please tell me? So first we will try to understand what could be the possible keywords in this topic. So could anyone of you unmute and tell me what could be the possible keywords? Anyone?
The energy demand.
Yeah, definitely. What else? Energy demand is definitely a keyword, but there are other keywords also. Anyone else? Let's try. Let's try. See, sorry, what?
Urban microclimate.
Definitely. Urban microclimate, yes. What else? see, the point is, the idea is we will try, definitely. We'll try and then we will fail and then again we learn. So to learn something, it's very important to, fail and then you will learn again and then you will do, right? So just let's try. So one is energy demand, next is microclimate, next what? Anything?
Temperature and humidity.
Temperature, humidity is that's quite a micro level. I will say built morphology could be one. Okay. See, try to understand the major focus in this. Okay. Urban level energy demand. Energy demand could be one. Next is that, first of all, energy demand is one. Now, energy demand could be at any level, building level, city level, country level. So what is that level? So whenever you are putting that as a keyword, so energy demand, it will give you, I mean, millions and billions of maybe, literatures. Okay. So it could be, so it won't be related to architecture or construction. So you need to specify that. Does that make sense? So you are looking for energy demand at urban level. So that is another, that could be another keyword, that urban. Okay. Next comes microclimate, urban level microclimate. There again comes built morphology could be one. So this could be our possible keywords. So next we will see. So what are those things? Now, so see, as we have discussed, so this is first level of our keywords. Okay. Next is another set of keywords that is basically microclimate and then urban microclimate, and then this urban scale. Basically, by using this urban scale, we are basically narrow down our search. You can say modifiers. Now, as you can see that we have used here, while putting those words, we have used inverted comma. So it's very important to understand why we are using that. So if you have a single word, suppose energy, okay, so you don't have to use that inverted comma. Why? Because the search engine will take a single word as a single word while searching those databases. But if you put energy modeling without that inverted comma, it will take energy as a separate word and modeling as a separate word. And then it will put this, the search engine will put one logical operator and in between. So it will look for papers where you have energy and modeling separately. Okay. Now, whenever you put this inverted comma, that means energy modeling, whenever you put that energy modeling in inverted comma, which means the search engine will look for energy modeling word only. So it will consider this as a single entity. Okay, so does that make sense? So whenever you have multiple words, you need to put those words inside this inverted comma. Now, so here you can see we have 3 levels of keywords. Now, within each level, you need to use a logical operator called OR. So basically, there are 3 types of logical operators: and, or, and then not or nor. So and is basically, suppose there is one word A and B, okay? A keyword and B keyword. So whenever you use and, so basically it will look for literatures where A and B, both keywords are there. Now, whenever you use or, okay, which means either A or B, any one of them. But when you use not or nor, A nor B, which means A will be there, okay, not B. Does that make sense? Okay. So is there any question so far? Any doubt? You should have doubt.
So when you say nor, is NOR, is it?
No or not, yes. Nor,
Okay.
not, not, or not. These are basically Boolean operators. Okay.
Okay.
So basically, and is there to include all of them, or is basically when you have, you have a dicey situation that you may want this and may not want this. Okay, let's use or something like that. But when you don't want something not to be there, definitely you don't want this thing. You want this to be excluded, then use not or not. Okay. Now
Okay.
you may have come across, see here, we have used an explicit mention in literature. So what is that explicit mention? So while going through a literature, so it's always advisable. So before getting into, before doing a systematic literature review, you do a mini review, a mini literature review. Maybe you could go through one or two papers to see what is the trend, the recent papers, what is the recent trend. And then you could have an idea like what could be the possible keywords. And then while doing that, in that process, you'll be able to understand uh, there could be a bunch of keywords which is useful, or maybe you could come across a situation that you want this paper. Okay, so this kind of papers where this kind of this sentence, or maybe this kind of what to say keywords have been used. So you definitely want them to be included because they are very important. So then you could use explicitly this thing. So but in such cases, what happens is that since it's a very long keyword, whenever if you use this with and logical a Boolean operator, what will happen is that it will reduce your scope extensively. So in that case, we will use or. So basically, if there are such papers, it will include this. If it's not there, then not so, it's fine. Okay. So that's the way. So we have developed our search query. So now we will go to Scopus and try to do that. Okay. Okay. Is my Google page visible to you?
Yes.
Good. So we will go to Scopus. Okay. Could you please tell me how much time is left?
We still have 1 more hour left.
1 more hour. Okay, fine. Wonderful. So now, before going into this, no, Scopus is not free. Okay. Sometimes I think that it should be free because this is the most, comprehensive database, but it's not free, unfortunately. So what happened? Like you could talk to your librarian; they should have the subscription of this. So in that case, you have to use your institute email ID, and then you could, use this. So once you have the subscription, you have to log in, and then you could see a page like this. Okay. Now here you can see that search within, there is a drop down menu, sorry, arrow. So if you click on that, so here all fields are visible. So mainly we use this article, title, abstract, or keywords, which means that whatever keywords you put, the search engine will look for those keywords into title, abstract, and keywords. So similarly, you could use other fields also, so you can explore. So today we will look into this only. So the keywords we have developed so far. Yeah, this one. Now, this one is our first layer of keywords we just talked about. Now, if I just search with this, just be with me. The
Sharing
internet
in
connection
connection.
is a bit slow.
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah.
The
Yes.
screen is
Okay.
frozen.
Yeah.
The screen is frozen.
Yeah. We only see the add references, the Mendeley reference manager.
Okay, just give me a moment.
Sure.
Is it visible now?
Yeah, now it is.
Yeah. So as you can see, I just used the first layer of keywords. So as you can see, we have almost 23,800 documents. So it's humanly impossible to go through all of them, which means we need to modify them, right? So we will add next layer. Okay, so there you could change those the Boolean operators. So we will use add and then the next modifier is basically the urban scale. So as you can see now, the moment we add this urban scale, so we have 6,000 documents. We have narrowed down to 6,000 documents. Now, again, 6,000 documents, again, it's not humanly possible. So we need to narrow it down to a number which is possible for a human to review. Okay, so we will keep adding. So now you can see we have 116 documents. Okay. And next we will add this one. So we have total 307 documents, right? Now 307 documents is basically possible for a human being to, to read. It will take some time, one month, 1 month or 2 months, 1 or 2 months, but it's possible for a human being. Now we can further narrow it down. Like there are filters available on this, like the one that I was talking about, like earlier I was saying that Google Scholar is not the one I will recommend. So Google Scholar, on Google Scholar, there are filters available, but they're not extensive like this. Okay. So you have options available. So here we could use, suppose, maybe from 2000 to maybe 2025. We are looking into that. Okay. Now this is one stage of filter. Okay. Further, you could use, maybe you are looking into a particular author's author's literature. Then again, you could filter by subject area. Suppose engineering subject area, or maybe the research area. This is subject, suppose environmental science, or maybe social science. You're interested in literature, particularly which are related to social science or maybe humanities. So you could use this in that case. About document types. When you are actually doing a literature review, so you need to be careful what type of article you are actually including. So there are peer-reviewed articles, but there are few conference papers. You could actually include conference paper, article, review papers, whatever you want, book chapters, whatever you want. But there are few conference papers which are not peer-reviewed. So sometimes you may not want to include conference papers, so you could exclude them at this stage also. So it completely depends on how you want to review or how you want to proceed, but in a very systematic way. Now next you could see the country or territory. Okay, Now you may want to be, you may be interested particularly, the literatures which are related to China or maybe, India or maybe Malaysia. So you could use this filter. Okay. Now, you could so as you can see, there are languages also. So if you don't want other languages, if you're comfortable with English, so you can use this filter to to include only the paper which are written in English. So all those all those filters you could always use. So I will clear all those filters. And
Yes.
okay. So may I ask you one thing? Which screen is visible to you? Is this the Scopus screen?
Yes,
Yes. Okay. Fine. Yeah. So from here, you could actually, so suppose, so now you have, basically we have 304 documents. Okay. Now you could, like, before actually getting into the actual literature review, you can, have, you can analyze this result. So here you have this analyze results. So once you click on that, you'll be able to generate graphs. I don't know whether it will allow me to do that. Just give me a moment, I'll try. Yeah, yeah. As you can see, so there are, so this one is the year-wise trend. So these are the graphs. So you can, instead of creating your own, so it will basically save your time. Okay, so you can take those graphs from here. Okay, so that is one way to, to look into those literatures. So next, what we will do is that we will download all those papers, and then we will try to generate a map. Okay, try to visualize this whole area. But before getting into that, I will show you this Web of Science also, which is also similar. Okay, uh, just give me a moment.
I think you may have written the Gmail wrong.
Oh, yeah,
There's a T with the T. Yeah.
yeah. Thank you. I'm so sorry. I couldn't remember its its password.
What happened?
So
Yeah.
it's very difficult to remember. I mean, there is so
Mm.
many accounts, institute ID, your person ID. Anyway, so it's very similar. I will just try to show you this thing. Okay. So is the PPT visible to you now?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So as you can see that this is basically the search area. So it will be more or less, you will see something like that. Okay. So as we have seen on Scopus that yeah. So as you see, so also you will find similar fields, and then there will find a space where you can actually put your keywords. So this way, so basically wherever you go, so you will find this area where you want to search, and then a space where you could use those keywords. So this is the basics, like the basic structure, whatever database you use. So you could always, look something like this. So once you have this, okay, you are at the right, at the right place, and you could use your search query. So now, next, we will move forward. Okay. Okay. So now that we have already did one, so I want you guys to solve this one. Okay. So is this PPT visible now?
Yes.
Yeah. So I want you all to solve this one. This one. So could anyone please tell me, let's start with keywords. So what could be the possible keywords? Okay, fine. You
Green
don't have to tell
building.
me. You do one thing. Okay,
Okay.
green building. What else? What else?
Construction industry.
Construction industry.
Yeah, wonderful. What else? So if I just
Malaysian
use
markets.
green building, sorry, what?
Malaysian markets.
Fine, but Malaysian market won't actually explain the whole story. So this topic is about grid building
okay.
adoption in construction industry, a case of global versus Malaysian market. So global has to be there. Okay. Right.
Oh.
So it could be Malaysian market versus maybe Indian market, Chinese market versus Malaysian market, but it's specifically talking about global market. So I'm not at this point, I'm not getting into this. So I want you guys to run a search. So whatever we have learned so far. So I want you guys to, to run a search and tell me how many, how many literatures you are getting. So we could do this quickly. Let's take 5 or 10 minutes and let's try to do that. Okay. Okay, let's do that. Yeah.
Okay, you guys can try to do what Piali taught you all just now, and then she'll give you about 5 minutes. I think 5 minutes is more than enough. Then you can, while that Piali will take just a 5 minutes break. All right,
Yeah.
guys, I expect you all to answer her.
See,
all right.
all of you need to do. You need to follow those because you may it may seem that yes, you can do that, but whenever when you actually do that, sometimes multiple question will generate. So you should do that first, and then let me know whether you are facing any difficulty.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. There are, I mean, quite a lot of, I mean, a substantial content is left. So I hope you guys have tried. Okay. Is it done?
We
Yes,
haven't done
kind
it
of.
really extensively, but yes. Yeah.
Okay. So how
Well,
many papers did you get?
We got about
for me, it's 18.
3,000.
Oh, nice.
3,000 papers. Okay. 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 Fine. I will show you those keywords that you may have to use, and then maybe you could try that later. Okay. So is this one visible? Are those keywords visible to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the keywords that you could use, and then you will get somewhat like maybe 30, 40 papers or something like that. When I run that last time, it was kind of 30 or 40, something like that. So you could use this. Okay. So you could take a picture and then you could try it later. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So we will move forward now. Next thing is to now that we have 304 papers, next thing is to we need to download those papers. Okay, for two reasons. Number one, we could use WOS viewer to to map those literature. Next, we need to include this literature to uh, a citing what to say a software called Mendeley. So first of all, we will select all of them. And then we will export as CSV. Now we could use all of them and okay. Fine, I actually have this, right. Yeah. So next we'll look into basically a visualization of the literature that we just received. So sometimes it's required to know like what are the major focuses. So you basically have 300 papers, and you don't know what are the focuses of those papers or what is the major research area that all those literatures are concentrating on. So for that reason, to get a very quick idea about that, so we could use keyword co-occurrence analysis on WOS viewer. So WOS viewer is it's a free tool. You could use this link, you know Yes, you could use this link. Okay. So please try to do this with me. So use this link, please. If you use this link, you could type it. Okay. So you will, if you click on it, so you will get a screen like this. So here you could actually download this WOS viewer. Okay. So it's free. Once you download it, so you will get something like this. You'll get something like this. Okay. Basically, you will get a folder. So you have to unzip that folder. You don't need to install anything. Okay. So you don't have to install anything. Once you unzip that folder, you will find a bunch of files inside it. So there you will find this wasviewer.exe. You need to click on it. Okay. And along with it, there is a manual available here. So you could use this manual to get a detailed little idea of what that tool could actually, does. So you could do, other analysis also. So first, now today we will only look into this keyword co-occurrence analysis. Okay, is this is the screen visible to you? So this was viewer is basically opening. Is this
Yeah.
visible to you?
Yes.
Now, so this is the interface of WOS viewer. There you can see that here you could create and open a file. So basically, this is the area where this visualization will happen. And then there are a few more tools that you could use it to, to make it more visible. So the file that I downloaded from Scopus, I will use that one to do this analysis. Okay, so first we will go there, create, and then create a map based on bibliographic data. Okay, next. So yes, read data from bibliographic database files. So we got that data from Scopus. Okay, so you need to read that before clicking on any option. Let's go next, and we will go there. Scopus file we have now. Go to next. Now we will do keyword co-occurrence analysis. You could similarly do other analysis also, but since these things are not are not available, because for doing all those things you need even more data. So while you could remember, while I was downloading that, I didn't check all those fields. So there were fields available, like you could I will show you once more. Yeah. So these are the fields available. So if you want to do all those analysis, you could check all of them and download, then it will be available to you. Okay. So since we are not doing this now, so that's all right. So we will go by full counting method. Okay. So there are only fractional means, suppose there is 2.5, it will consider that way also. So it's always better to do the full counting. So whether it's 2.5 or anything, so it will always consider it's one. I mean, if it's 0.5 or anything, so it will always consider it as one. So let's go to next. Now, so this is the threshold. Here 5 means minimum number of occurrence of a keyword, which means it will only consider those keywords which is occurring minimum 5 times. So if you increase this, it will decrease this, which means once you increase this number, the number of keywords that made that threshold will decrease. Okay, so 5 is optimum. So based on your requirement, you could increase or decrease this. So next, okay, and next. So as you can see, these are the keywords. Okay, these are the occurrences. Okay, occurrences and total link and strength. Now, what does it mean? We will look into that. Now, is this visible to you? It's a very colorful network. Is this visible to you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, right. Now, this is basically a network where you can see, colorful balls available. There are like so many colorful balls. But what does it mean? Okay, there are small balls, large balls. If the large ball means more number of keywords are available here. Small ball means less number of keywords are there. Okay. Now, if you click on it, at the bottom, you could see that total link strength, occurrences 1 to 1. Okay. You could see all those information, which means that that keyword is connected to all other keywords. Okay. And occurrences 1 to 1 means that keyword has occurred total 1 to 1 times. Okay. And this one, like 1161 total link strength means this one is connected to all those, all those small balls through all those links. That's what it means. Okay, now here we can see, and all those different color coding means these are the clusters. Okay, these are the major clusters. Now, apart from this, so you could basically use this to understand how one keyword, or maybe one keyword is connected to other keywords, or maybe you can say, since this keyword is occurring more, which means this one is the frequently researched area. Okay, so like urban buildings, building energy model, then building, these are the frequently researched area. That's why the more keywords are there. Okay, this one, like this could be an inference. Now, apart from this, you could also use okay. You could also use this, but I don't find it much useful. This one, this overlay visualization, this is basically a timeline. I mean, but if you want, definitely you could use it. This one is rather more useful. This one is the yellow colors means the more and more keywords are there. So this one is more easier to actually visualize. Okay. And this blue color means less number of keywords available. Okay. So which means these are again urban building energy model, energy efficiency, and building. They are the most frequently researched areas. So you can actually modify them also a bit. We'll go there again. So here you can change those sizes if you want. Okay. I mean, yeah. So uniformly, it will increase all those sizes. So instead of circle, you could have frames. Circle was better, I believe. Yeah. And then instead of size variation in lines, then you could have, colored lines, maybe curved lines, straight lines, curved lines. So all those things you could, play around. So as I discussed, so this at a preliminary level, you could, if you want to understand what is the major focus, suppose at the starting of your literature review, you want to discuss what is the major focus. So you could always use this. So this is definitely a nice tool. You could do that. And since it's a free tool, you could always go to that website, you can download it, and you could use it. And for further information, you could actually use that manual to to get a more idea about this. Now, could you please tell me how much time is left? Because I believe
We
Another
have
half an
about
hour
30
maybe.
minutes.
Yeah.
how many?
30 minutes. Yeah.
30 minutes. 30 or 20?
30 is 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, so I'm back to PPT again. So is this PPT visible to you, all of you?
Yes.
Yeah. So far, do you have any doubt so far?
I have one question. Are we allowed
Yes.
to move the clusters? Like, let's say
Yes.
there are some of it like in red color. Are we allowed to like move it around in?
Actually, unfortunately, no. I have
Okay.
tried this. It's not possible. But if you want to move, it will move the whole cluster, basically. Like you could, by using this, you could actually move this
Um,
like this. Why is it
okay.
not happening?
Yeah, because it's hard to see some words. That's why.
Yeah, you can actually zoom it and zoom out, and then
Okay.
you could go right and left and then top. Then you can definitely pan, fine, and then you could you will be able to understand those words. What are those words? Okay. And here you can see an overview. So see, the moment I'm like zooming, so you could see there you are. You understand that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how you'll have an idea where exactly you are. So definitely, since there are a lot of keywords, it's very difficult to actually, I mean, get a whole grasp of it. So it's always better to, if you go to items, so you will see the number of clusters. Okay. So this is cluster 1. Okay. The number of cluster 2. So this way you have different clusters, and then you have different keywords. So if you double click on it, you can always go there instead of searching it manually. Okay, so it will be more easier to you. So once it's done, okay, so you actually need to know, so those, if you're clicking on something, so you could see total length and occurrences written at the bottom, but you need to have that file so that you could actually understand properly. So you could actually save that. Okay, so here you could see save. Okay, if you go there, so there is this was viewer map file, and there's this text. So instead of text, if you click this one, I mean .csv, so you will get kind of an Excel file where you'll be able to see that all those occurrences, total link strength and links, given. So based on that, you'll be able to do further analysis. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So any more questions so far? Okay, so we will move forward. Anyone?
I have one question, if you don't
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
I think you explained, but I missed it a little bit. What's the difference between or and an when we are searching in Scuba?
Or and. Okay, so and is basically considered two keywords. Okay, A and B. Okay. Now you want search engine to find all those literatures which have keywords A and B, both the keywords. Keywords A and B both should be there. So then you will use and. Okay. But you are okay with literatures. I mean, either A or B will be there. Okay, suppose between A and B, there are few literatures, only A is there, and there are few literatures, only B is there. I mean, only B keyword is there. So then if you use and, it won't work. Okay, so in that case, you need to use or. Means the search engine will look for literature which have either keywords A. If B is not there, then is also okay. Then it will also show you those literature, and it will additionally look for literatures which have keywords B. And if that, like, the keyword A is not there, that is also okay. So basically you will get all of them. Is it clear to you?
Clear now. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Any more question? Okay, so we will move forward. So next thing is basically running a visualization demo. So again, the like the same problem that I gave you. So you could write it down and then do it later. Okay, so basically you have to follow the same step. Okay, so as you remember that initially with the the initial problem that urban heat island problem, or that urban climate problem. So what we did is basically we derive a set of keywords, and then we put into the Scopus search engine, and then we found 300 plus literatures, and then we download it. After downloading it, so before downloading it, we checked, we made sure that few fields were there. Okay, after that we downloaded that file, as a CSV file. Please keep it in mind. CSV file, you could also use text file, that will also do. So either text or CSV file, you download it. After downloading it, you need to have the WAS viewer. Okay, so you need to upload that file. So once you upload that file, you could choose the analysis that you want to run, and then you could do. Okay, I hope so far this is clear to you. Now we will look into, so this one you could do it later, okay, at your own pace. So we will move forward. So now, so now you have 300, basically you have 300, what to say, literatures. Now you want to use and then use in your own literature review. So how you are going to do that? So you need a software through which you can actually through which you can actually do the referencing. So there comes this Mendeley referencing. So you could actually use this link. Okay, so please try to use this link and see what you get. Okay, I will give it a pause so that you could type this. So once you go there, you will find something like this, okay? And you need to download it and you have to install it. Okay, apart from Mendeley Desktop, there is also an online tool, okay? So you could also use that, okay? And apart from this Mendeley Desktop, or maybe, so basically this Mendeley Desktop and this, yes. So yes, so apart from that Mendeley Desktop, you also need one more thing that is called Mendeley Web Importer. Okay, so if you go there and get Web Importer for Chrome, so this is basically an extension. So once you click on that, and if you install it, so you will find, and if you go there, you will find something like this already installed. Okay, so you also need this. Why? I will discuss this later. So you also need that one. So once it's done, so you have basically Mendeley Desktop and then Mendeley Web Importer. So now we're good to go. So here, so we were here. Now to import all these 300 documents to Mendeley, so we need to download all this file. We could actually do this in two ways. Number one, so there is something called Mendeley. You could click on it, so it will be directly, connected to, added to the Mendeley. That is number one way. The number two way is, the second way is, you could actually download this file as text, either BibTeX or maybe RIS file. Okay, so let's try with this. So you need to select all those fields and then it's being exported. So as I have already told you, there are two ways. You could directly export this to Mendeley, or you can download this manually. Okay. So so the downloading is done. So once it's done, we'll go to Mendeley and we'll import this file. So there is one more version. I mean, I won't say it's a variant. So there is Mendeley Desktop, and apart from that, there is something called Mendeley Reference Manager. Okay. So okay. Just give me a moment. I'm just trying to connect this to it. So is this screen visible to you, this Mendeley Reference Manager?
Yes, Piali.
Yeah.
Downloading.
So it's becoming a bit more difficult because of my internet connection. So it's showing loading. So basically, in this white area, you will see those papers. I mean, all those papers that you are going to add, all those papers will be available here. Okay. So I'll show you how to add those references that or the file that I just downloaded now. So if you go to this add references, so import file, you will see import files. Okay. So, no, probably no, not here. Yes. So add references and then import library. So you remember we downloaded a RIS file. So click on this and then you have this RIS file and then you could open it. But I'm not opening this. Before opening this, it's very important to understand or actually create or actually visualize how you are going to manage all those literatures, because this is not, so this may be the first time you are doing this, but this won't be the last time. So if you keep adding all those literature, it will be a mess after some time. So to do that, you could actually create collection. So if you click on it, so you could actually name, suppose, suppose, say Piali. So you have a collection, and then you could go to that collection. Okay. You could go to that collection, and then after going there, you could add those references or import those references. Okay. So that way it will be much more manageable for you to add those references. So I'm very sorry that I'm not able to show you because of this internet connection. I'm so sorry about that. So if you follow if you follow me, whatever I'm saying, you'll be able to do that. So I'm showing what those steps that you need to follow. So basically, you need to download either BibTeX file BibTeX file. Okay, you either need to download BibTeX file or RIS file from Scopus or maybe Web of Science. And then once you have that file, so you need to open Mendeley Reference Manager. Then you could come here. Before adding all those files, you could create collections, different collections, and then you need to go to that collection and then add reference, import library, and then maybe you could select RIS or BibTeX, whatever the file format is. Now, apart from that, suppose you want a separate, a separate research paper that you want to add. There is one more way to add this. So let us consider this one. Okay, suppose consider this paper and you want to add this paper. Fine, it's a separate paper you want to add, and you don't want to go through that laborious, steps. So instead of doing that, you could simply go there. Is it visible to you? There is this urban models progress and perspective pages open. Is this visible to you? Right. So you could actually go there, click on it, and then Mendeley Web Importer. Okay, you could click on that. So once you click on this, so you could see this. Okay, this urban models progress and perspective. So you could add. If you click on add, it will be directly added to the Mendeley library. Through that, you could also add a research paper, but in this case, you will be able to add only one research paper at a time. So this is the limitation of this. Okay. So far, is it clear how you are going to use Mendeley and how you are going to, add all those, all those literatures that you got? If you want to use or, add only one literature, how you are going to do that? So far, is it clear to you? Okay, wonderful. So we are almost at the end. I will show you how referencing. Now, so I hope everybody uses Microsoft Word, right? Everybody uses Microsoft Word, right? You all have.
Yeah.
So once you have that, once you downloaded your references, and after that you will be reading all those papers. So I want to give you few tips. So basically, while you are so once you have, suppose, 300 papers, so you'll be reading them one by one, right? So instead of reading the entire paper together, what you need to do is that you need to first skim through the paper. So how you're going to do that? The easiest way to skim through the paper is to first you need to read abstract. Okay, you read abstract and then you read conclusion. So you will have a fair idea about what that paper is talking about. You don't need to read the entire paper. So from 300 paper, you will be able to further narrow it down to say 100 papers. Okay. So now you have 100 solid papers. Okay. Now, even then you will be able to find that few papers are not available at your university. Okay. So like out of 100, then you will have maybe 50 papers. So from 300 to now you have 50 or 60 papers. So then you will read those 60 papers in detail. I mean, you will read the whole paper, 60 papers, the entire paper. Now, once you are reading those papers, you will have your key observation, key notes. So while you are reading those papers, try to, annotate, try to write it down there. Okay. Otherwise, if you think that your mind will hold everything, no. It's not possible. It's not humanly possible that your mind will remember content of 60 papers, or the critical analysis. I mean, or your perspective of those 60 papers. It's not possible. So whenever you're reading, whenever you have an observation, you try to annotate. The best possible way is to you create an Excel sheet. Okay. So you, like there will be several columns, maybe the paper name, author's name, year, and then your key observation, or maybe based on your research question, you could actually customize, you could have a customized Excel sheet, and there you could, write down the observations. Now, once you have that Excel sheet, the next stage is to actually write down compose the paper, the literature review. So while you are doing the literature review, so you are suppose writing a sentence. Suppose you were writing a sentence. Suppose this is a sentence, and this sentence, you have arrived at this sentence by maybe like based on two papers. So you need to add those two papers. So in the end, you need to suppose these are two papers. Okay. So you need to go to the reference. Okay. So this is my word. Okay. Now, if you go to reference, so you will find Mendeley site. Okay. So in my case, it's there because Mendeley is already installed. In your case, maybe if Mendeley is not installed, you won't find it. So what you need to do is that you need to open while writing. So your word is already open to you. So you are writing your paper. So this is the screen. So whenever you are writing a sentence and like you want to include it, like include the reference, so you just need to go to reference, Mendeley site. You could search whichever whichever paper you are looking for. If you search, it will come here. You just need to select those papers. So once you done once you select those papers, so just insert to citation. So it will be here. It will come here. So you don't need to do anything. So Mendeley will do those things for you. Okay. Now, so like this, you will be writing your whole paper. So once your paper writing is done, you must have seen that at the end of each scientific paper, there is a list of references, right? So you need to add that reference also, and Mendeley will do that for you. Now, how? Now, suppose I want, so I have included only these two literature. Now I want to create a list of reference. Okay. Again, I will go to Mendeley site, and then I will go there. There is a 3 dots, and if you go there, say there is something called insert bibliography. Once you click on this, it will ask you your bibliography will be inserted at your cursor location. So my cursor location was here, so it will be included here. If I continue, so it's there. Okay. And you could also change the citation style. So at this point, it's APA. So apart from APA, there were other styles also like MLA and then Harvard and Chicago style. So so more or less in APA style, basically the first there will be author and then year, then title and publisher. You don't need to write this, or you don't need to understand this. So basically majority of the cases APA style is used. Okay. So you could keep it as it is. Okay. And then you could do the rest. But there are cases that whenever you are publishing a paper, so they like the publication house may have explicit requirements. So they will guide you. Like they may need suppose MLS style or maybe Chicago style. So then you may need to change this. Okay. So this is all about how you can systematically do systematically search a literature. Okay, yes, one more thing that I want to show you. There is something called Prisma guidelines that Nilabra was talking about. So if you search Prisma, or maybe Prisma, if you search Prisma guidelines, okay, so you'll get something called Prisma statement. Okay, so if you go there, okay, you'll get something like this. So there is something called checklist. Now it will look like this. Is this checklist visible to you? Yes. Okay. So this checklist, while composing your literature review, you need to follow those steps carefully if you are following Prisma guidelines. So there are other guidelines similar to Prisma. You could also use that, but Prisma is the most, Prisma is the one that is extensively used nowadays. It's very simple also. Okay. And if you search on YouTube, you will get a lot of help on this. So I will recommend Prisma only. So you need to, you need to follow those steps. And there is one more step that is called, risk assessment, study risk assessment. Okay. Now, whenever you have a study, so each and every study has an inherent risk or bias. Okay. So as a human being, it's very difficult to understand what are those biases. So you need, like you need a guideline, or maybe you want computer or maybe an online tool to run that risk analysis. So I will tell you one tool, that is this. You could use this tool, but only downside of this tool is you could only use this tool for homogeneous study. What do you mean by homogeneous study? Suppose you have trials. So this is mainly applicable for for interdisciplinary research where health science or maybe trials are being used. Trials means you have an experimental group, you have a control group. So you have controlled parameters. Okay. And you like all the literatures that you have included are of similar nature. Only then you could use this. If you don't have, if you like, suppose you are delving in an area there not much literature is available, then this tool will not be much useful. And even in that case, if you follow this Prisma guidelines step by step, even then it will create a problem. So in that case, you could go for normal narrative review, but you could do that systematically. I mean, you could just simply follow the flowchart instead of like following all those guidelines of Prisma strictly. So it will be in that case it won't be so in that case it will be a simple literature review. Okay. Because you don't have much literature available and it is difficult for you to to do all those steps, specifically that risk assessment. Okay. Now there is if you go there, so there is something called flow diagram that Nilabro was showing you one flow diagram. So this flow diagram is already there. So if you go there, so you will find all those flow diagrams are available. So this one will be the most relevant one, this flow diagram for new systematic reviews, which included searches of databases, registers, and other sources. If you click on it, you will get something like this. This one is the flow diagram. Yeah. Okay. So now you have this. So after each and every step, you should fill this. Okay. How many numbers of databases are there? At every step, you should keep doing this. So if you don't do this, you'll forget, and then you won't be able to regenerate it. Okay, it will be difficult for you. So while doing this, you need to follow the step, and at every step, you should keep filling those things. So so that's it. I hope I'm able to give you a fair enough idea so that you could, take it further. Okay. And if you have any question, you could always, you can ask. Do you have any question? Any doubt?
Thank you all. If there's no question, don't leave the lecture. We will have a gathering photo. So could you all please open the camera? If there's anyone have any question, she should ask now. Otherwise, we will open the cameras to have a gathering photo.
I don't know whether like if I'm visible. Am I?
No.
No, but that's okay,
no.
I think.
Ah,
Oh yeah,
Now?
now
Can
you're
you end,
visible, yeah.
can you end the
Yeah,
slide so we can show up on the screen, please?
Yeah, I'm sorry. The hand monitor have something wrong. I don't know. It can't open.
It's fine. However, can open, yeah. We'll wait a little bit.